Hello everyone, I am doing November's spread for today, so a few things. The lighting's a little funky throughout this video. My light broke quite a while ago and I just used the natural light, and it decided to storm off and on throughout filming this, so there are a lot of weird shadows and different things, and so sorry. But for November, I decided to go with a Pocahontas theme. I adore that movie, and all of the colors and things in the movie just remind me of autumn and November, and yeah, so it just seemed to work out. Plus I wanted to do Pocahontas at some point, so I decided for November. So for the cover page, I went with the spinning arrow, the compass that John Smith has, that ultimately he gives it to Meeko, really, but it ends up in Pocahontas's care and leads her back to him in the end. Well, I did that for the cover page, and just kept it simple as always. But for the title November, I decided to do it in the font that Pocahontas is in on the cover of the movie and all the movie posters and such. Just instead of saying Pocahontas, it says November, obviously. And coloring it in, it's a sort of gradient, so I did my best on that, and I think it honestly turned out looking okay. So it starts with like this really light color at the top and goes into a sort of orangey red color at the bottom. And yeah, that was it for my cover page. Next is my habit tracker and cleaning chart. This month is really simple in theme. I had a lot of lists to add into the month and not a lot of room to embellish around them. So honestly, this whole month is pretty simple. But for the habit tracker and cleaning chart, honestly, I didn't really know what I wanted to do for this particular page. So I did the little gust of wind that you often see throughout the movie, and, you know, colors of the wind and whatnot, and thought that would be a good idea to do, so I just drew the habit tracker and cleaning charts in little boxes on their own pages, and then kind of drew the little gust of wind with all the leaves and symbols and things going in back of those boxes. And I really liked this idea because it brought a lot of color into it. There's a lot of color in the little wind gusts that they have. So I just filled in the little leaves and then added the little symbols and embellishments and little magic-y wind bits throughout, and that was it. It kept it pretty dang simple. On my next page, beginning my list, so baby is coming pretty soon, and so I have a list of things we're going to need for baby. We're also looking into buying a house, so things we're going to need for that. And so that took up pretty much my whole page, and so I pretty much only had room at the very top where the titles go. And I decided, since I didn't have a lot of room to work with, to draw kind of her tattoo that goes around her arm that she has there, and so I based that off of that, and that's really it. Then another list, so things to do before baby, so things that baby's gonna need and things that need to be done before baby actually gets here, and again, that takes up the whole page, so I didn't have much room to work with. So I only had really room around the title area, and I did her necklace that she wears. It's classic Pocahontas, I feel. On the next page, so this is a brand new one. I have to keep track of how many Tums that I take throughout this pregnancy. They have me take a certain amount of Tums a day, and then on top of that I can only take up to like 6 or something a day. And right now I've been marking it on a post-it note, but that's really annoying, so I decided to just dedicate a whole page to it. And because it doesn't take up a lot of room on the page, I decided to do Grandmother Willow. And ultimately, I'm really glad that I did, though it took a lot of time and hand cramping to do. And I tried to keep her as simple as possible on top of that, but all of her vines and all the little leaves on each vine took so long. And I honestly didn't think about how long it would take to do when I decided to do Grandmother Willow for this page and have her take up the entire page with all of her leafy little vines and stuff that she's got chilling about. And like I said, I honestly tried to keep her as simple as possible. I didn't go into too much detail, but it still took a lot of time and hand cramping, though I'm pleased with how it turned out in the end. And yes, I filled her in with green because I just got green. She's got kind of a grayish green bark to her, so I don't know. And all of her vines are green. I just figured green worked. Anyway. On the next page is my month 7 and brain dump page. Again, I kept it very, very simple. All I did was draw Flit down in the corner of the brain dump page and then highlighted with some of Flit's coloring, I guess you could say. His green color. Yeah, and that was really it for this page. On the next page, I decided to do a bunch of shovels because they dedicate an entire song to digging and shoveling things in the movie, and I didn't have much room for embellishment on this either, so I thought the shovels would be a good way to separate out the days in the first week of the month. And yeah, like I said, very, very simple month. And then I just filled in the shovels. And I highlighted the days also with the two, the whole 2 shovel colors. And yeah, like I said, it's pretty simple, but I'm pleased with the overall effect, and I didn't have much room to work with all the lists and stuff that I needed, so considering, I think it all ended up looking pretty good. So, here is my final flip through. That is really all that I have for this spread for you guys. As the last couple months of the year coming to a close, they're gonna get a lot more in them, probably a lot of lists, but I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you guys next time.